Hi, I'm Rob, N1NUG, and today I'm at my secret spot at Nye-Holman State Forest, US 6867, so that I can do an antenna test during a real POTA activation. Now, this is going to be about the most unscientific and uncoordinated and unprofessional antenna test you've ever seen, but it is going to be real world, or at least that's what I'll call it. Now, the camera work in this video is also going to be lousy. All I'm using is a GoPro, maybe my cell phone, who knows. You're going to hear traffic going by, you're going to hear my dogs barking in the background because I live just over there, and it's just going to be a mess. So I'm warning you now, if this isn't your cup of tea, you might want to watch something else. Here's an example of what I was talking about. This is poor planning on my part, 100%. I threw this in the car and it wasn't tangled, and then somehow in the 500 feet that it took me to get over here, it tangled, and now it's a mess. So I'm going to spend the next hour getting that untangled, and then I'll set this up. But right now, I've got the end-fed half-wave set up over there. We're going to try and put this one next to it and not get poison ivy. We got it untangled. Now, most ham radio YouTubers would show you the proper way to wind this up so this doesn't happen, but you're not going to see that on this channel. You're going to see me struggle and unwind the wire because that's just what I do. And that's the reality of what most of us do. This is what ends up happening. So follow what the other YouTubers say so that you don't deal with this, but you're not going to do it. Nobody does. This is what happens. Anyway, we got it all set. So let's get this set up now. The challenge is going to be in this spot, getting the two antennas set up so that I can connect them both to the tuner. There's stones here where I really want to bring the vehicle in, and I just can't get close enough to where I want to be. And I don't have my table, of course, so either we're going to makeshift on one of these rocks or we're going to be in the poison ivy. I guess we'll see what happens. It's not pretty, but I got the doublet up over here. I'll show you that in a minute. Let's take a look at the end-fed half-wave first. Here's your typical end-fed half-wave. This one happens to be the kit that the ARRL sells. This is for 40 meters. It's over there up in the tree. The end of it is probably 25 feet or so in the branches. I'm sure you can't see it up there, but just basic, tied off to this pole, and I've got 30 feet of coax going over there to the back of the car and into the back of my MFJ tuner. Now the doublet is on my 31-foot mast, and up there at the top it's probably down 1.5 feet or so from the top, and it's bent over, so I'd say the top of that is probably closer to maybe 28 feet or so. And then I've got the two legs of the doublet kind of going down over here and staked off into the grass. You can see I've just got a loop right here off the end of the ground, tied off with some paracord to a stake. And I've got the identical setup over there, but it is sort of next to the car, about where the driver's side door is. So the car is going to interfere with the antenna a little bit, but not enough to really make a difference. At least I don't think it will. And then, of course, because this is a doublet, hopefully you can see I've got some ladder line coming down here. There's a little bit of slack in it just because of the way I had to run it over here to keep it off the ground. And then it just comes over here to the MFJ tuner. We're going to use this to switch between the two antennas. Now, the doublet, of course, is fed into the balance line input on the tuner. We've got one leg here, and the jumper installed. The end-fed half-wave is connected up to this port with the 30 feet of coax going off to the feed point, and then a short jumper over here to the radio. I made a full video explaining the doublet, how I made it, how I tune it, all of that kind of a thing in another video. If you want to see all that, I'll link it down below. But for now, let's get it tuned up and tested and see if we can make something happen. So I'm going to start off on 40 meters. I've got the doublet tuned in pretty good right about there. And then when I switch over to the end-fed half-wave, I'm going to go to the bypass coax 1 setting, and you can see that that one is tuned up pretty good too. Let's tune around the band and see what we can hear, and I'll switch between the two antennas, and we'll see if we notice any difference in the receive quality on the radio. So just to explain to you what I'm doing, I've got the two antennas. Both of them are what I'll call 40-meter antennas natively, meaning they're kind of designed for 40 meters primarily, but they'll work on other ham bands by nature of their electrical properties. So both antennas should work well on 20 meters and on 10 meters and on 15 meters and maybe 6 meters. Now, we'll probably only check 40 and 20 right now today because I think it's going to be dark soon. That's all we're going to have time for. But the technology of the two antennas is a little bit different. The end-fed half wave, the one on the left, uses the unun, and just by nature of its electrical property, it doesn't need a tuner. It's just automatically going to work on those other bands, just because of the electrical properties and just the way things work out. The other antenna will kind of behave the same way, but we need to use this tuner here that's behind the camera in order to match the antenna to the radio, so that when the radio transmits, it sends all of its power to the antenna and it doesn't reflect it back into the radio and damage the radio, right? Because of the nature of the way this antenna is designed. But having said that, in theory, or at least this is what I think I've read or heard or whatever, but if you ask, 3 people, you'll get 5 answers on this. But the antenna on the right, the doublet, the one with the ladder line, in theory should be more efficient and should work better than the end-fed half wave. And in a laboratory setting, that's probably true. But out here in the back of the Suburban, in the middle of the woods, my theory is that we're not going to notice a difference at all, right? If there is a difference, it's going to be negligible. So that's what I'm trying to understand today. Is that the case, or is this one better, or is that one better? I'm not really sure. I want to find out for myself. So that's what we're trying to do with all this ramshackle stuff here. We're going to do a receive test first. Right now, we're on the doublet. Now I'm going to switch over to the end-fed and see if there's a difference. Doublet, end-fed.
And I believe it's the same board. They're all
here's the doublet.
Compatible. You can put replace in the
there's the end-fed. Here's a POTA activation that's a little bit weaker than the last guy's. Let's test it here. This is the doublet. We're going to start off on the doublet.
Have a great night, buddy. It's 7-3. AA4SS. Kilo Oscar. Kilo Alpha Delta.
End-fed.
Good evening, Randy.
Okay, in this case, he's stronger on the doublet for sure. November 1, November Uniform Golf, park to park.
Hi, November 1, November Uniform Golf. Good evening, Bob. I got you a 5-9 here into my park. 61 in Pennsylvania. USL.
Okay, hey, do you have a minute? Would you mind doing an antenna test with me?
Yeah, I can go ahead and try that.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm on an antenna right now. I'm going to switch to another one on my next transmission, and I'd just like to know if you notice any difference.
All right, no problem, Bob. Go right ahead.
Okay, here's the end-fed. Okay, let's try this antenna. Do you notice any difference on this one?
Oh, yeah, Bob, definitely. On this one, I would probably give you about a 5.6, a 5.6. Your audio's way down on this antenna, over.
Okay, very good. Awesome. Thanks for letting me know. The second antenna was an end-fed, and the first antenna was a doublet. So good to know. Thanks for testing with me. Appreciate it. Good luck on your activation, and 7-3.
All right, Bob. I think that doublet's going to win all day long, but the end-fed, though, I still did hear you, so. All right, Bob, have a great night, buddy, and thank you again for hunting. This is Alpha 4 Sierra Sierra, but I was on the air.
So in that case, the guy definitely noticed the difference and told us the doublet was stronger. Now, that could be just the way the antennas are oriented, the radiation pattern. I don't know. Let's try a few more stations and see if they'll do antenna tests with us and see what happens. Park to park, November 1, November Uniform Golf. November 1, November Uniform Golf, park to park. Okay, QSL, we got you down in the noise a little bit. I'm going to give you a 4x3 into 6867 here in Connecticut. Do you happen to have a minute to do an antenna test with me? Okay, the antenna I'm on right now is an end-fed half wave. I'm going to make a second transmission on a doublet, and I want to see if you notice a difference. Okay, I've switched over to the doublet. What do you think on this one? Okay, QSL, well, thanks. Yeah, you're a little stronger on the end-fed for me, so interesting test. Hey, thanks for the activation. Thanks for testing with me. Appreciate it. 7-3, Michael.
7-3, you take care.
So that was interesting. On that last transmission, I was hearing him better on the end-fed half-wave than the doublet, but I think he said he heard me slightly better on the doublet than the end-fed. So that's kind of interesting. But then afterwards, I listened for a little while longer, and both antennas came up to about the same for me. So I don't know, it could be just band conditions. We're running out of time, so I think I'm going to switch over to 20 meters and see if we notice any difference over there.
Q, Route 66. This is Whiskey 6 Mike. November 1, November Uniform Golf 59 Kansas.
Okay, QSL, you're 5'9", Connecticut. Can I trouble you? Would you have time to do an antenna test with me?
Say again?
Do you have time to do an antenna test with me?
Hang on, I put on some headphones. What were you asking me?
Do you have time to do an antenna test with me?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
573, Whiskey 6 Mike, cheers, Ed.
November 1, November Uniform Golf. You're a good 5'9" in Our Park. 3758. 3758. Okay. Stand by for my second operator.
An operator here, and this is Kilo Quebec non-X-ray. Same part number and same signal report, my friend.
Hey, do you have a minute to do an antenna test with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome, thanks. On my next transmission, I'm going to switch antennas, and I'm just curious to know if you notice a difference.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, here's the other antenna. Do you notice any difference on my signal this time?
I noticed a pretty dramatic difference, actually. The static went way down. The signal went up about 2.5 S units, it seems like.
Okay, all right, so you're hearing me stronger on antenna 2 than antenna 1. Okay, that's interesting. All right, hey, thanks for the antenna test. Appreciate it. 7-3 and good luck on your activation. N1NUG.
Roger, Roger. Hey, thank you so much, and always willing to help out. Always need help myself, so always willing to give it. So I hope you have a good rest of your day in 73.
Okay, 7-3, thanks again. Really appreciate your time, and have fun on the activation. So that last one was interesting because they heard us better on the end-fed half-wave than on the doublet by a lot. The guy said it was noticeable. And interestingly enough, on the receive test, I didn't notice hardly a difference at all. In fact, there was just kind of natural fading on the signal that was making it hard to really compare the two, even switching as fast as I was. And again, that could be because of the radiation pattern of the antennas or anything. I'm not sure. But either way, I think we've got to wrap this up for this evening. It's getting dark, and there's acorns just pummeling off the top of the car here. So we're going to get struck when we're taking this thing down because we can't leave it here tonight. But I do want to do some more testing over the coming days, and we'll see what happens. Different days, different conditions, and we'll just try and average everything out. It's been 2 weeks since the last clip. We're now on our second attempt at the antenna test. I've tried to keep most everything the same. There's a few differences, and I'll show you what they are now. The first difference is that I ended up setting up the doublet just a few feet further away from the parking area than I did the first time, kind of by accident. So instead of operating out of the back of the car this time, I'll be operating from this rock. Really shouldn't make a big difference, but it is different, so I figured I'd tell you. Now, I know what you were thinking. You may have even already commented it. But on the first try, we didn't have a counterpoise on the end-fed half-wave. Well, I've changed that for this test. I've got a 14-foot counterpoise wire connected up to the end-fed half-wave. But other than that, this is set up exactly the same and in the same position it was on the first test. Since the last clip was recorded, 2 weeks have also passed. And you may have already noticed that by the color of the leaves behind me. It's now late September instead of mid-September. 2 last differences before we get started with the test. Number 1, my sister isn't with me today. I'm here by myself. And number 2, I think instead of chasing POTA stations and asking for antenna tests, this time I'm going to do my own activation, and I'm going to ask each hunter if they're willing to do the antenna test with me. I think we're going to have better results that way. And the last change, I don't know if you're going to notice it or not, but I'm using a different camera to record the rest of the video. So we're going to start off on 40 meters, and I'm going to call CQ using the doublet. And then we'll switch to the end-fed half-wave when we get somebody. CQ POTA, November 1, November Uniform Golf, calling CQ Parks on the air from US 6867 in Connecticut.
November 1, Yankee Lima Oscar.
Hey, do you have a few minutes? Would you mind doing an antenna test with me?
Yeah, go for it, Rob.
Okay, so I'm on antenna 1 right now. I'm going to switch to antenna 2, and I just am curious if there's any difference. Next transmission will be antenna 2. I'm on the other antenna now. Do you notice any difference on this antenna?
Very little. The signal went down a little bit. It just got a little bit less, but maybe the conditions there, I gave you a 5.5. It's just a little bit less. I think the other one's just a little bit stronger.
Do you mind doing an antenna test with me? Okay, so this antenna that I'm on now is a doublet. I'm going to switch over to a different antenna and let's see if you hear me any different. I'll be right back. Okay, this is antenna 2. This is an end-fed half wave. Do you notice any difference here?
Roger, the instant halfway for me is coming through a little bit stronger than the doublet is. Probably about a point on the meter. So from where I'm at, that's probably the better antenna.
Okay, QSL, I agree. You're stronger on the doublet for me as well. You're up to about a 5.5, or on the end-fed, sorry. You're 5.5 on the end-fed for me. Appreciate you taking a few minutes to test with me.
Alpha Delta 2, Mike.
Hey, do you have a minute to do an antenna test with me?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, awesome, thanks. Right now I'm on a doublet, and my next transmission I'm going to switch over to an end-fed half wave. Give me just a second.
Standing by.
Okay, here's the end-fed half wave. Are you noticing any difference in the signal on this antenna?
You know what? I'm looking at the S meter. It's about the same. Right now, you're actually bouncing between S7 to S9. Usually around, kind of sitting at about S8. If you wanted to, can you go back to the other one real quick?
Okay, QSL, I'm back on the doublet here. Any difference? For me, you're about the same on both antennas.
Okay, well, I would say that on your peak, you did go, you hit S9 on the end-fed half wave. On the doublet, you're not making, the S meter is not going past S8. So on the peak, there was the 1 S unit difference.
And I'd actually say about the same. After observing a couple of transmissions, you were a strong 5.9 on the end-fed, and you were kind of averaging 5.8 on the doublet with peaks at 5.9. So slightly stronger on the end-fed, but not a huge difference for me.
You know what? It's very cool to switch between two different antennas.
Speaking of antennas, I'm testing an antenna here. Do you have a few minutes to do a test with me?
Sure do.
I'm on an end-fed half wave right now. Just a 40-meter end-fed half wave. I'm going to switch antennas, and let's see if we can hear each other on the other antenna. Give me just a second. Okay, let's see. Can you hear me on this antenna? It might be a little bit lighter. This is a doublet antenna. Are you able to copy me on this one?
Yeah, it faded a little bit at first, but then you came back nice and strong. It was better.
Okay, QSL, I'm getting you about the same signal strength on the doublet, but the noise is less. The background noise is less, so I'm able to pull you out a little bit better on the doublet.
November 1, Papa Hotel Romeo. Yeah, I did hear you on both the antennas there. I heard you were talking, and you switched over from the end-fed to the doublet, and both from the same signal to me.
Yeah, I just switched over to the end-fed, and I'm seeing the same thing. You're 5.9, almost to plus 20 on the end-fed. I'm not seeing any difference at all, really, between the two.
Victor Echo 3, Uniform Whiskey Alpha.
If you got a second, I'd like to switch to the doublet and see what you notice.
Okay, Rob, I will send you a switch.
Okay, I'm over on the doublet now. Do you notice any difference on this antenna?
Roger, the signal's about the same, but the audio is not as strong. You might have gone down an S point, but I find the audio just a little bit sharper on the end-fed.
On my end, you're definitely stronger on the end-fed. Like I said, you were between 5.7 and 5.9, but on the doublet, you're between 5.5 and 5.7. Thanks for the info. Appreciate you testing with me.
My pleasure, Rob. Always wanting to help out a fellow ham. And thank you for the activation in 6867 this afternoon. Keep having fun, my friend, and when you head home, safe travel.
Kilo Echo 2, Foxtrot Lima Golf.
If you got a minute, do you mind if I switch to the end-fed? I'd like to hear what you sound like on that.
No, I don't mind at all, and I'm curious how high the center of the doublet is in the air.
Right now, the doublet is about 28 or 29 feet, the center. And then the legs are, just a foot or two off the ground. And the end fed, the high end of the end fed is about the same height, maybe a little lower, maybe about 25 feet. On the next transmission, I'll switch over to my end fed.
All right, yeah. Just so I don't know how sharp your inverted V is, but I've found that the less sharp it is, the higher I can get those ends off the ground, the better. So I have them tied off onto stakes. So like my ends of my doublet are probably 7 feet, 6-7 feet in the air, and it works pretty well.
Yeah, I'm over on the end fed now. What do you think of this? Any difference in the signal?
Yeah, it's stronger now, and I've done exactly what you're doing and had the same exact results until I got those. I got a wider wingspan and I got those ends off the ground. I bought those electric fence post stakes they sell at like Home Depot, and then I tied a rope to the end of the antenna, and it takes up more space, but it's a lot better. It works a lot better. Back to you.
I'll keep that information. That's good. That's good advice, and thanks for sharing that with me. Maybe I'll do that and do another test at some point. I'll get those ends more horizontal if I can, and see what the differences are. But okay, hey, thanks for taking a few minutes to test with me, and good luck on your activation. Appreciate you being there. 7-3.
Charlie 3, Whiskey, Charlie Bravo, 2RP.
Hey, do you have a minute to test antennas with me?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm on a doublet now, and like I said, little QSB, but anywhere between a 5.5 and a 5.8. On my next transmission, let's see what happens. I'm going to switch now. Okay, I'm over on my end-fed half-wave now. What do you think of this antenna?
Definitely weaker signal. You came up to a 5.7 earlier, right, with doublet, but this one is about 3 S's lower, over at 5.4.
Okay, QSL, that's interesting. You're about the same for me on the end fed, around 5.7 or so, kind of averaging a little bit of QSB, but kind of averaging about a 5.7 on the end fed. So interesting information. Hey, thanks for testing with me. I'm going to have to go back and review the footage. I don't really remember exactly what's what, but out of, I think, about 10 contacts, I'd say 9 of them were stronger on the end fed half wave, or the same. So today the end fed is beating the doublet. Now, like we've been saying, that could be just the antenna radiation patterns, or like that one station said, it could be because I'm running the doublet as a sloper and I've got the legs of it just kind of too low. So I think he's onto something, and maybe we'll do another test in another video another day where we get those legs up higher and see what happens. But for now, let's switch over to 20 meters with this same configuration and see if we notice any differences over there.
November 4, Alpha Bravo, Juliet.
Hey, do you have a minute or two to do an antenna test with me?
Sure, go ahead. I'm just drinking a beer.
Okay, maybe I'll have one later when I get home from this. I'm going to switch over to an end-fed half wave on my next transmission, and let's see if there's any difference.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm over on the end-fed half wave. What do you think of this antenna?
Okay, that antenna's a little bit weaker. Signal's a little bit weaker, Roger.
Okay, for me, you're about the same on this one. Still about a 5.5, really not much difference. I think there's a little QSB on the signal, but about the same for me. Let's see, N1, NUG, QRZ.
With beer also.
Okay, so there was a pileup, and I didn't really catch any calls, but I heard somebody say with beer too. So I'm going to take that station. Come now.
Hey, it worked. November 5, Echo, Mike, park to park. With beer. I didn't notice any appreciable difference on your antennas, if you're wondering.
Okay, QSL, yeah, I was going to ask you if you minded testing with me. I'm going to switch over on my next transmission. Right now, you're about a good 5.5 on the doublet. If you don't mind, I'm going to switch to the end fed, and I'd like to hear what you sound like on there if I notice a difference.
All right. I was listening to you before. I didn't notice any appreciable difference. So how does this sound?
Okay, well, I'm over on the end fed now, and for me, you're weaker. You're about 5.3 on the end fed.
Whiskey 8, Charlie, Foxtrot Hotel. You're a 5.556 on the doublet. You're a 5.7 solid on the end fed. Isn't that something?
If you don't mind, I'd like to hear what you sound like on the end fed, so I'm going to switch antennas here if you don't mind coming back to me.
Roger, do that, and I'll come back to you again.
Okay, yep, you're definitely stronger on the NFED for me. But again, the QSB makes it a little hard. But I think on average you're stronger on the NFED. What do you think?
Kilo Echo 6, Kilo Echo November.
Hey, do you have a minute? Would you mind doing an antenna test with me?
Absolutely.
I'm on an NFED half wave right now. Next transmission, I'll switch to a doublet and let's see if it's any different. Okay, I've switched over to the doublet. Do you notice any difference in the signal?
I'm getting a slightly stronger signal from the doublet.
Okay, I'm getting significantly stronger from the doublet on you. You're up to a 5.7 solid here. But again, little QSB out there, but I think on average you're a little bit stronger on my doublet. So once again, I'm kind of running out of time. Plus we hit a lull on 20 meters. Nobody was coming back to me after about 5 or 6 CQs. So this is a good time to kind of pull the plug. Even though we made more contacts on 40 than we did on 20, I still think we've got some good information to go on. Now on 40, as we saw, most of the contacts were stronger on the NFED, both transmit and receive. On 20 meters, it was more of a mixed bag. So what I'm thinking is that really the radiation pattern of these antennas is really what's driving whether or not one is better than the other. And really, when we do have a difference, it's not that significant. It's in most cases 1, maybe 2, 3 S units at the most, which on the stronger signals doesn't really make or break whether or not we can make the contact. Now on weaker signals, of course, that would play into it. Now on 40 meters and maybe a little bit on 20, I did notice that the receive was definitely quieter on the doublet than it was on the NFED. And that can make or break the difference too, especially if the band is noisy. We can have a quieter receive and pull out those weaker stations on the doublet more than likely, at least on 40 meters. 20, the band wasn't really all that noisy, so it was kind of hard to tell between the two. But I'd like to know what you think about all of this. What did I do wrong in this test? What could I do different? Kind of like that one station that we worked said maybe elevating the legs on the doublet would even make more of a difference. But what other things can I try? Let me know down in the comments. And if you've done a test like this, what have been your results? I'd like to hear about that as well down in the comments. Now, if it wasn't clear or I didn't say it earlier in the video, my intent was never to find out which antenna is the best, because we're not going to find that out. There's too many variables. One antenna is going to be better in one situation and another antenna is going to be better in another. For example, we found that the doublet had a lower kind of receive noise floor, and that may be important when the band is noisy. But it's also mechanically a lot more complicated than the NFED. So if we need to pack light or we're in kind of a small area or something, then the NFED, even though it doesn't work as well electrically, it performs better mechanically and is the better antenna to use. Now, the thing that I really wanted to prove with this video is the fact that you could use either one of these antennas and have a successful activation. We saw throughout this video that we were able to contact all of the stations on either antenna. The signals were stronger on one antenna versus the other, and in some cases the other station was hearing us better on one versus the other, but there was no instances that we found during this test where we couldn't hear somebody on one antenna but could on the other, and vice versa. So the punchline here is use whatever antenna you've got and get out and have some fun on ham radio, whether it be in your backyard or at a POTA park or field day or whatever. Just get on the air and have some fun and experiment along the way. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and 7-3.